The nation has a huge infrastructure deficit for which we require foreign capital and expertise to supplement whatever resources we can marshal at home. In essence, increased engagement with the outside world is called for as we seek public-private partnership in our quest for enhanced capital and expertise inflow into the country. This is the way of the new world for all countries in the 21st century.
Indeed, most countries of the world today are fast embracing the public-private partnership initiatives, a long-term contract between a public institution and a private sector company to develop an infrastructure project, manage a government facility, or offer a service that is typically provided by the government for greater efficiency. In Nigeria, there is an agency of government that is increasingly waxing stronger in its mission of building a lasting pipeline of public infrastructure investment projects in line with the strategic objective of accelerating investment in national infrastructure through private sector funding, by way of ensuring that contractual terms and conditions are complied with by both parties involved in execution of the PPP contracts entered into by the federal government of Nigeria as required by the ICRC Act 2005. This indeed is the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, the strategic agency that drives Nigeria's national policy on public-private partnership, PPP, towards addressing the country's physical infrastructure for the creation of wealth and economic development.
Let us utilize these gifts from God to empower our people, our region, and our continent.
Established in 2008, the ICRC is saddled with the responsibility of creating new infrastructure at the federal level, as well as the expansion and refurbishment of existing assets through public-private partnership using a high-tech strategic approach that anchors on development, procurement, and implementation. Mr. Michael Joe Ohiani is currently the Acting Director General of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. He doubles as the Acting Secretary of the Commission's Governing Board.
ICRC is saddled with responsibility of providing regulatory guidance for all the PPPs involving federal government assets. In this respect, we've been working with the Line Ministry to ensure we upscale the infrastructure deficit, the huge infrastructure deficit we have.
The ICRC is resolute in its mission of opening up Nigeria to local and international investments in different sectors of the economy that cut across power generation and transmission or distribution networks, housing, healthcare facilities, road and bridges, ports, railways, inland container depots, and logistics hubs, gas and petroleum infrastructure such as storage depots and distribution pipelines, among many others. Several years down the line, the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission is waxing stronger in its strategic objective of accelerating investment in Nigeria's national infrastructure through private sector funding. Standing very tall as its accomplishments today is one of its flagship projects, which is the concession of the Apapa and Lekki ports in Lagos, which upon completion promises to be the deepest port in the whole of West Africa.
We want to assure investors that their funds is well protected, especially Section 11 of our Act provides that once you go through the due process, no concession entered into following the process of ICRC will be arbitrarily terminated. That goes to show that your investment is well secured.
Another innovative concession supervised by the ICRC, which has placed the agency on a high pedestal is that of the Garki Hospital, Abuja, the first government-owned hospital in the FCT, established in 1986 as a secondary healthcare facility. To ensure a more efficient management, the facility was formally given out on concession to Nisa Premier Hospital on March 22, 2007 for 15 years, thus making it the very first PPP healthcare delivery in the country. Today, the new Gariki Hospital has become a center of medical excellence.
The success story has been very tremendous, taking into consideration that we look, not only do we look at the bankability of the project, we also look at the sustainability and how it will enhance employment opportunity in the country.
The several other outstanding concession arrangements the ICRC is currently handling include the 4 international airport terminals of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, and the Port Harcourt International Airport in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. As it stands, 8 companies have been shortlisted and issued with requests for proposal (RFP) to submit their technical and financial proposals, with the closing date set for September 5, 2022. Still on the aviation sector, the ICRC has ensured the establishment of national carrier for the country, codenamed Nigeria Air, which is expected to create new competition in the airline sector, both domestic and international. To that effect, technical and financial proposals have been received and evaluation to commence soon. Working round the clock to ensure the realization of its mandate, the ICRC has equally regulated the concession, establishing an aviation leasing company, with negotiation already ongoing towards signing of the contract. Same success story is being replicated in the maritime sector with the concession of Onitsha River Port in Anambra State. After negotiation and Federal Executive Council's approval, a concessionaire has emerged and the contract will be signed shortly. The Kirikiri Lighter Terminals 1 and 2 in Lagos swelled the number of concession arrangements currently being undertaken by the ICRC. In the interval, negotiation is ongoing with the preferred bidder, Tin Can Island Container, towards signing of the contract. The ICRC is presently supervising a concession enterprise involving a joint venture public-private partnership between the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, and SAW Corporate Wear Nigeria Limited that will soon see Nigeria producing uniforms locally for its military and paramilitary personnel from January 2023. The DICON-SAW collaboration, which will span a concession period of 20 years, will be responsible for producing uniforms for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, Civil Defense, and other military and paramilitary organizations in the country. Some of the other projects under implementation in the ICRC concession enterprise comprise the Gurara Dam project in Kaduna, which contains a hydropower component to generate 30 megawatts to the national grid, powered by the Ministries of Water Resources and Ministry of Power. The solar power generation facilities at Powerhouse Maitama, and the development of hydroelectric power from existing 6 small and medium-sized dams across the country, which include the Bakolori Dam, Zamfara State, Omikampe Dam, Kogi State, Doma Dam, Nasarawa State, Jibiya Dam, Katsina State, Zobe Dam, Katsina State, and Ikere George Dam, Oyo State. Other projects that are receiving the ICRC regulatory mandate include concession agreements for the operation, maintenance, design and sales of electricity produce in Niger State, concession agreement for the design, build, finance, operation of the Transition Company of Nigeria's fiber optic cable telecommunications infrastructure for the western parts of Nigeria, and concession contract for the design, development and management of a secure ticketing solution for the Nigerian Railway Corporation NRC Rail Services for the 5 stations along NRC Rail Corridor between Abuja and Kaduna. The list also comprised the concession of warehouse in a box by the Federal Ministry of Health, development of students' hostel by the Federal Ministry of Education and University of Abuja, and the concession of the proposed multi-specialist hospital Abuja and Port Harcourt by NNPC Medical Services Limited. In all, over 77 contracts have either been successfully executed or under implementation in line with the ICRC Act 2005. ICRC has a formidable governing board that has as its members the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Bas Gida Mustafa, Minister of Finance, Mrs. Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, SAN, Acting Director General of ICRC, Mr. Michael Joe Ohiani, as Acting Secretary.
We have a lot to do. We have a lot to do for the country in terms of the medical facility. We will stem medical tourism. We are working with NNPC to establish first-class hospital in the 6th geographical area. And we also I have a pet project of having mobile clinics where you can reach out to the villages and have both curative and preventive medicine. Then very dear to my heart is smart learning. What COVID has taught us is that you don't sometimes you can stay afar from either your classroom or your offices and still learn. So we'll bring that to the shore of this land as it is done in other jurisdictions.
Owing to the high premium the federal government of Nigeria places on the functions and activities of the ICRC, the agency is directly placed under the presidency with tactically streamlined departments. In all, significant improvements have been recorded following the execution of the PPP contracts under the regulatory mandate of the ICRC, one of which is the investment in infrastructure that has assisted in Nigeria's economic growth, added to the usage of technology and innovation in providing better public services through improved operational efficiency and ultimately ensuring an improved standard of living.
Nigeria is investment heaven. People should come and invest.
With the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission blazing the trail in deepening the efficient public-private partnership regime in Nigeria through its regulatory mandate as enshrined in the ICRC Act 2005, and thus making it possible for government to deploy its scarce resources to other critical areas of the economy. It is only a matter of time before the Nigerian state will be ranked among the industrialized nations of the world.